Hey, and welcome to the Board Game Bat Cave. This week we have a Kickstarter on the table, and we're here to review it before it comes out next month. We'll put all the information there on the screen for you. And it's a card game for 2 to 6 players. There's 2 different versions of the game. One is called the Most Glorious Comrade. The other, the Most Incorruptible Patriot. They play about the same. We're going to discuss some differences between the two. And we're going to break it down into 4 categories like we normally do. And we're going to start down here on the end with Gilmer.
Theme.
We're going to discuss these two, by the way, basically as one score together.
The theme in this game, I've not seen in any others that I've played or that we've reviewed for sure. Basically, it's a lot of communist leaders, more or less, and you associate a lot of the card actions and the gameplay with like a Cold War kind of communist feel incorporated into the card game. And then the other one, the Patriot, of course, is more like JFK, Martin Luther King Jr., and stuff like that, you know. And it's got its own flavor and feel too. And like I said, never really saw this genre in this type of card game before. It all works, you know, nothing seemed out of place. Nothing seemed strange or peculiar or whatever. I don't know if I'm really just going crazy with the theme, but it's something different, and I thought it worked well with the card game. I'm going to go I'm going to go 7.5 on that, just because I haven't seen it before.
Yeah, I think actually the Most Glorious Comrade, this one here is, I love the theme. I thought it was, I've seen it before, but not very often, and it's done well.
Yeah.
And this one, the Patriot one, feels a little shoehorned in to me.
Yeah, I think
like
so
they
too.
took it and just tried to make it the opposite of this game, and so
I can see that.
it still works, but it doesn't work as well, I don't think. So, being a child of the '80s and of the Cold War and the Reagan era, these games are very appealing to me, and the theme. As soon as I saw the picture when they sent this to me, I thought this is going to be a good game. So
I agree. Where I think maybe if they would have not gone with the Patriot version and just doubled the gameplay and the cards and the intensity for the Comrades game of it, I would have dug that a lot more, actually. Because, yeah, that thing, you see the Americanized Patriot version in some other stuff, you know, and things like that. But the Comrade game, haven't really seen that particular genre before. And if they would have just focused on one, I would have scored it higher, probably. Because I think that was the way they should have gone.
I think definitely the Most Glorious Comrade is my favorite of the two, and I'm going to base my score off of it, and that's going to be an 8 for theme.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm going to do the same thing on this one, and maybe I'm cheating just a little bit. I'm going to base my score on this one off Most Glorious Comrade. The Most Incorruptible Patriot it feels like they just thought, well, what else can we do here? We'll spin it 180 degrees and we'll turn it around to the Allied side or whatever. So on that one. But for me on this particular review, not to let a spoiler out too early, but this is going to be my highest score for this game. I think for me, for this game, the theme was the best part of this game.
Yeah.
And I'm going to give it a 7.5, which is, it's a respectable, it's a good score. I like the propaganda style art on the card work. Obviously, the communist names, Soviet era, and Cuba, and that sort of, you know the names, you remember the buzzwords and stuff. So I think they did a great job with that. And, not to just keep beating that dead horse, but on the Patriot side, it really felt a little bit forced.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give it 7.5.
All right. Let's, I think we've flip-flopped around, but we're going to go to components now.
components, it's a straight up card game. Even the rules included in this are basically just a couple of cards front and back. Simple rules, but well, we'll get to the whatever gameplay, whatever. But as far as the components, I really enjoyed the artwork on this. I thought it was cool. We've played some games before where certain elements, like they would do one thing in one part of the game and then one thing in another.
Right.
And the elements just don't match up.
Yeah.
The mobster game we played.
Family Business.
Yeah, Family Business, where it looked like really cool, almost courtroom drawings for the criminals' faces, the mob guys. But then the action cards would be cartoony, kind of weird, and it would kind of draw you away from it. You know, where it was, you think, why did they do that? This, on the other hand, I dug it. It looks like a lot of artwork from old propaganda posters and stuff like that, you know. Or you would see on the side of buildings like in Moscow or somewhere like that, you know. And it was a cool way to go. And I'm actually going to give the components, because I really dug the artwork and everything, I'm going to give that one of my highest scores of the game instead of theme. I would go 8, because I thought it was a way to go with that, and I thought it was very successful, and I liked it.
I agree. I think, like I said, when I saw the game, before I knew anything about it, the artwork had me, because I was like, that's the kind of game I want to play. And even though both decks are, the art's good, it's just that you feel it in the propaganda posters, because, like I said, 80s child, you grew up with it. And everything he said about the propaganda, but also the backs of the character cards have little histories, which I really appreciate, being a history buff. So I found that it's almost like a little extra. Here you go. It shows a little bit of more effort put into it. So I'm gonna give it an 8 also for components, because I think even though it's just a card game and it's simple, that it's a really well thought out card game. Well, and as far as the art goes.
And that is, when I look at components, you know, I either like something really cool or a lot of good quality components or stuff. But if you're going to do a card game and all you need are the cards, and the cards are well done and the artwork is cool, that's what gets good scores for me, you know. So I think that's all they needed. I didn't feel they were lacking for anything on the components, and they did it good.
Yeah, I'm in the neighborhood with these guys as well. I'm just a tick lower on this. I'm going to give it a 7 for the components. Nothing wrong with it, but the only reason that it isn't any higher is there's just nothing real special about it either. So, you know, I do like the artwork, and it's, you know, it's a deck of cards, and it's everything you need is there. So it functions. It's just everything you need. It's just nothing extra or nothing spectacular, I guess, you know. So 7 is still a good score, and I'm going to stick with it.
Cool.
All right. So next we have gameplay.
Gameplay is where I'm not going to score that as high for 2 reasons. Number one, as far as the gameplay, nothing just, I mean, you can see a variation on these rules, screw your buddy kind of game, or you're trying to achieve a certain thing. They didn't throw anything out that just wowed me. You know, nothing thought, well, I've never seen this before in a game. I've seen all this stuff before in a game. Different theme, different genre, but nothing just blew my socks off or anything like that. And the second reason is, and I know this game hasn't even been kickstarted yet, and it's probably not a finalized copy or the version of the game. We had to house rule a couple of things on this. We had to make some rulings that were a little in the gray area as far as we would play a card, and it's a new game, I know that, but even if we played this game for a long time, we'd play a card and be like, do you think this means that? Or, you know, we would have to be like, well, we'll vote on it, you know.
A little bit of interpretation,
whenever they do the Kickstarter, I would hope that maybe they listen to the input from people that are, you know, playtesters, and take it to heart, because I like what I like what they're doing here, but the rules are a little vague. So I'm gonna go like a 6.5 on this, because gameplay, nothing I haven't seen before. It's cool, and some of the rules were a little blurry. So
I think that's to be expected with some prototype versions, and I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt on the clarification of the rules. Maybe they're still working out the rule pages, but the gameplay itself, pretty good. It just seems like, I don't know, there's where I'm going to talk about the differences. In the Most Glorious Comrade, it seems a lot more polished and a lot more, you kind of know where you're going. In the Most Incorruptible Patriot, they add a few cards that do a lot more, so you have a lot more to keep track of, the public figure cards. And
and that was one of the ones we were a little gray on. Some of those public figure cards,
they don't really explain whether it happens every round or just that round, or you do it as an action instead of your round.
Right.
And so it almost felt like we played the Most Glorious Comrade first, and so I was used to that flow, that rhythm, and then when we hit this one, it felt like I was being drugged down with all the different things I had to keep track of. So that's probably weighed in on my score, but as a whole, I think it's just got a few little kinks to work out, but then it will probably be a really, really good game there. So I'm going to give it a 7 for gameplay, based on what I think it can be once all these little roadblocks get out of the way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm right in there again with you guys. I'm going to go ahead and give it a 6.5. First time I played it, if we just played through it one time, I probably would have given it a little bit lower rating than that. But after we played it a few times, I started to see the subtleties to it, and then that there was a little more than meets the eye originally, So I'm going to give it a 6.5. Again, it's a good game, but it's not anything that's really unique as far as gameplay goes, and it just seemed like it lacked that hook that grabs you. You're going to enjoy it. It plays fine once you kind of house rule the vague rules that you're unsure about, but it just didn't have anything all that memorable to me. If I had to describe this game to somebody, there's not one particular mechanic or part of it that that's gonna come top of mind. I'm just gonna say this is a card game that's fairly quick to play, and you probably haven't seen the theme before. So 6.5 on gameplay ability.
Okay, so let's go into replayability.
Replayability. Well, we played this several times, to grasp the mechanics of it and stuff like that. If they were to smooth out some of the rules and gameplay, if that were to become something that would increase the replayability for me. It's just whenever I play a game and I'm unsure about certain stuff and it's a little vague or whatever. And to tell you the truth, the strategy, I don't know if there's some strategy to this, the cards, but I don't know if there's that much,
Right.
So, and those are really things I look for in replayability of a good game, constantly challenging, strategy changing from game to game, trying to up it and everything. Yeah. So, replayability on this, I'm going to go like a 6.5 on it, Not the best, not the worst, but I don't know, it needs a little something for me.
And I think the replayability, I didn't mention this before in any of my other areas, but we don't know the price point on the game yet. So I don't really know, if it's a certain range in price, it might be a great game, If it's expensive game, it might push down how much I actually want to pick that up. So as far as replayability goes, though, the Comrade game, I think I would put that in in your your backpack to go to a convention or whatever, and it's a good break for something different, something that everybody hadn't seen before.
Yeah.
I think it'd be great to pull out.
Yeah.
This one is, I think, the way it's written right now, will be a little harder to teach. It might be a little, when you're playing a game like this, you want to play something quick. And so you throw that down for people who hadn't played before, and it might get drugged down a little bit too much. So I'm going to kind of split the difference on the two, and I think this one right here I will carry around and at conventions and stuff and use as a supplement to my other micro games.
Yeah, I can see that.
I'm going to go with a 6.5 also on that.
Cool.
Well, replayability for me on this one's going to be a little low. We've got too many dang games, and it's going to be hard for me to pick this over a lot of the other stuff we have going. So, but now in full disclosure, we played through this several times, but we did play it just three-handed. We wanted to do this review kind of quickly, so we just did it with the three of us that were here instead of waiting until we had our bigger group together. And I do see that more players would add something to this game. And maybe that's a plus, maybe that's a minus. I'm not really sure. It'd probably just make it a little bit longer game.
Yeah, because I don't think I don't see more players. I think this is about right.
Yeah.
You need at least three people to
Oh,
play
yeah,
it.
for
A
sure.
one-on-one
Yeah,
would not.
yeah.
I don't see that much.
I don't either. It says you can play 2 players. I can't see it being very much.
I don't
fun
think I would have
two-player,
enjoyed the game anymore if we played 6 people instead of 3.
Yeah, I'm not sure that we would either. But just throwing that out there.
Yeah.
Maybe a bigger group or something. But I'm going to give it a 5. Just giving it a 5. It's it's middle of the road. It's if somebody else has it, I'll sit down and play it. But it's probably not something I'm going to suggest or be super excited about it. So not bad, but also not something that I'm overly hyped about.
I think maybe if you had one of those babushka hats.
That could help.
Could
And some
probably-
vodka,
Or-
plenty of
Oh
vodka.
yeah, vodka
Make
would
it
add to
better.
it. Everybody had to be. You had to just use the thick Russian accents
sure.
or something like
In
that.
Russia, gameplay.
Yeah.
That's it needed. It's got that whole theme going for it. So
Yeah.
you got to do something with it.
I would think so too.
It'd make a good little theme party. You could have that game and a
Yeah, if you wanted to really go all the way. Yeah.
good Halloween party there or
Yeah.
something. Anyway, there's your idea of the week.
That's right.
So there you have it. We got 2 games. I don't know if they're going to be combined into a set or if they're going to be sold separately, but we'll put the information where you can find out more about it at the This and That Games. And one is called Most Glorious Comrade. The other is Most Incorruptible Patriot. And you've seen what we think about it. Now you can go read about the game and find out more about it.
Cool.
Thanks for watching.
See ya.
Oh, the score is going to be right up here.
Oh, yeah.